as advertised, as promised, live on the Skype, Mr. Matthew Settle. Matt, how are you?
I'm very good. Good to be a part of it.
Well, I know that your time is short. You have a lot of stuff on your plate, so I want to get right into it. The audition process that you guys went through, did you come in knowing that you were going to read for Speirs, or did you come in reading for somebody else, or how did you get the part of Captain Speirs?
I read for about 3 or 4 different roles. I think I read for Winters. I read for Captain Lewis Nixon. Who else? Maybe Carwood Lipton. It's kind of a funny story, actually. I remember preparing Winters, I think, once, and you first go into the room, and I'm sure you've heard this from the other guys, and Steven Spielberg's in the room running around with a camera. He's like, while you're doing your audition, he's got a camera in your face, and he's going around the different sides of your face and taking profile shots. And so I remember we being paired up with another actor who was he's fairly well known. And so I guess he had a lot more to lose. And I remember him just sweating bullets during this audition. And I remember thinking, wow, I have nothing to lose, so I really feel confident. So apparently it worked, and they invited me back the next day to read for Nixon. So then I got a call back after Nixon, and I came back to read Nixon again, and they'd added these scenes. And one of them was in Bastogne. It was a cold scene, and at this particular audition, my third audition, Tom Hanks was in the room with Tony Toe and casting director. And I prepared these scenes, and so I started reading Nixon, and he stopped me. Tom just stopped me. He said, "No, you're not Nixon. You're not Nixon." And I said, "Well, can I just do the audition? Because it's like I've been sitting on this all night. I prepared it, and I'm dying to do it. Just got to get out of my system. Do you mind?" And he's like, "Oh, you're going to show us how well you do cold." And I kind of had a, social Tourette's. I said, "Well, if you're so good at cold, why don't you get up there and do it with me?"
Oh.
And I'm like, as soon as I said that, I'm like, "Oh, did I just say that?" And I heard you could hear a pen drop in the audition room. And Tom jumps up and says, "All right, I will." So he got up, grabbed the sides from me. He says, "You got to memorize." I said, "That's what I did all night. That's why I look tired." And he said, "Okay." So we did this scene. We did this Bastogne scene that you see. I think it was Winters and Nixon when they're sitting around, and Nixon's pissed off because he's out of VAT 69. And anyway, Tom started laughing halfway through our scene and said, "That's fun." So somewhere in the archives of our auditions, there's an audition with me and Tom Hanks on camera together. That was fun.
My goodness.
So 2 seconds later, he says, "I want you to do Speirs. He's kind of a dark character. You don't know who he is, but take this outside, look at it for 5 minutes. That's all you get," he said, "because I don't want you overthinking it. And then come back in and do the scene." I said, "Well, I have memorized." He said, "Of course you don't. Just go outside, do it. Do what I say. Shut up. Get out of here." Like that. So I take the sides out and read a scene, and I think it was a scene with Blythe. That you can't be a soldier until you accept the fact that you're already dead and all of that. And so I came back in and just said that matter of factly to him with a little gravity, and Tom was like, "That's it. That's who you're playing, right?" And he says, "Memorize these 9 other scenes and come back in tomorrow, and we'll." So I had to go back for another audition. So the audition process was extensive, and somehow through it all, I wasn't nervous. It was a good time. And there was, it was this place called the Lantana Center in Los Angeles, and there must have been, every time you go, there were 400 or 500 actors there. It felt like filling the hallways, looking at their lines, waiting to go in. So that's my story about how I got Speirs.
That's awesome. And, I've told all the rest of the actors, or we've told all the rest of the actors, that every single time that we watch this, because we've both watched it multiple times, that no matter who the character is that you're watching, I never look at it and go, who'd be really good in this part? And because it's always, I can't think of anybody who could do the part better, and you are no exception. I can't imagine anybody else playing Speirs besides you.
Well, that's lovely. I think a big component of that is our boot camp, and the fact that Dale Dye, who was our cadre and my trainer during our two weeks at Brosnan Air Base, made us all we got rid of our civilian names, and we had to call each other our characters' names. So early on, we started developing relationships to our characters and started getting rid of our Hollywood Winnie BS, he used to call it. And, got rid of who we were back in Hollywood. So I think that really was a contributing component of inhabiting these characters in such a way that it almost changed our belief system, and I think that's integral to playing any character. So I still call the guys, I call Random One, I call them Bull, Michael Cudlitz. I still call them their characters' names,
Well, and that seems to be the way for all of you guys, and it's just it's a testament to the amount of work that you put in to make what can be arguably the best TV show ever put together. Mm-hmm. When you were preparing to portray a real person, aka Captain Ronald Speirs, how did you go about do that? Obviously, Ambrose had the book out there, but did you get an opportunity to talk to Captain Speirs?
I didn't. He wasn't available. He kind of. It seemed as though he kind of wanted to shy away from the whole process of Band of Brothers. He wasn't quite sure what light it was going to leave him, and of course we presented the idea to the audience and let them decide whether or not he had killed the prisoners and perhaps his own men. And I think that was tastefully done. But, perhaps that was why he wasn't, open to being spoken to. So I kind of just read both, Citizen Soldier and Band of Brothers, Stephen Ambrose's books. And then I had the fortune of not being in Currahee, the first episode. So I took that opportunity to go down to France, and I retraced the steps. I went to museums. I went to the town of Foy. I found it. There were still minor impressions, of foxholes in the woods, and they, cautioned me. They said there's still shells out here that haven't exploded that have been out here for years, and the actual field that he ran across was much wider than the geography of the episode. But it was very helpful in finding out what it would be like, getting those relationships to the actual battlefield, and seeing the enormous sacrifice that was made by so many men who lost their lives, and just going to these cemeteries, these museums. It made it really come to life for me. So I'm very happy that I was able to do that. Wound up in Austria. I went all the way. I went to Berchtesgadenhof, the eagle's nest in Austria, or in Germany. Where is it? I can't remember now where it is. It's like on the border of Germany and Austria. So I kind of retraced E.T. Company's steps and Speirs, the group.